So you have all chimed in to hear the information session on SoonerWorks. What SoonerWorks really is a 4-year college program for students with mild intellectual and developmental disabilities. SoonerWorks is not a degree granting program, and so when students finish their 4 years in the program, they're not going to finish with a OU degree, but they are going to finish with an OU certificate in community studies. Mindy, help me with the official name.
Yeah, integrated community studies.
Yeah, so students do finish with a certificate from the University of Oklahoma in integrated community studies. But for the 4 years that students are in this program, they really are just like every other college student on campus. They're taking OU courses. They are participating in internships and work experiences on campus, living in university housing, joining university clubs and organizations, and really experiencing college and that kind of 4-year process between being in high school and being out on your own, right along with all other students at the University of Oklahoma. So if you want to click forward a slide.
Sorry, it takes me a minute. There we go.
Good. So one of the questions that comes up is, why is SoonerWorks needed? So what we know is that research really shows that for students with an intellectual disability who complete some kind of post-secondary education program similar to SoonerWorks, their ability to live on their own significantly increases. Their ability to have meaningful community paid employment with benefits significantly increases. And their overall engagement within the community, feeling a part of something, having a group of peers to go hang out with, having a group of peers to go see a movie with, all of these things really significantly increases. And so the idea is SoonerWorks really provides the support after high school that serves as kind of an intermediary between all high school students and adult life. And so my niece is graduating from high school this year. She actually came to visit us yesterday because she wants to go to the University of Oklahoma. And we were talking and she was saying, what does college really do? And I'm like, college gives you the skills that you need to go from being a student in your parents' house to go to being your own adult. And it provides this amazing opportunity with supports. And so for all students who are in college, you try out your first apartment with your parents right there helping you through it. You figure out how to live on a budget because you only have so much money to buy food with. You figure out how often you need to do your clothes because you have your own dorm room and no one is making you do laundry. And it really provides this great natural environment to help students and help young adults really figure out what it takes to be their own adult and to be independent. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think you've covered it, and we'll get into it a little bit more detail in the future slides. I think you've done a really good job.
All right, so how we do, and this is the next slide, Minnie. So how we do the SoonerWorks program is there's really 3 parts to it. However, all of these parts come together and the whole purpose is to ensure that our graduates from SoonerWorks have meaningful employment in their community and they're fully integrated. They're fully a part of their community, living, working, going out to eat, going to the movies, and experiencing the same part of their community that everyone else does. And we do this through 3 things. We do it through college academics. So students are taking courses on the university campus. We do it through career development. So beginning the freshman year and all the way through the senior year in SoonerWorks, students are experiencing both on and off-campus internships in fields that they are interested in and also in fields that we think might be a really good setting for them. And so we do a lot of career development assessments, a lot of transition assessments to figure out where students' strengths are, and we really take those areas of strength and match them in putting students in internships. And then we have the third piece that we call university life, which is that independent life preparation, living in your own dorm room, being responsible for when you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, being responsible for planning out how you're going to manage your day, when you're going to do your laundry, when you're going to go hang out with friends, and kind of that executive functioning and time management and all those skills that go into being a successful adult. All of those kind of fall into that university life setting. So we're really going to unpack these 3 areas of the Sooner Works pie in the next few slides. And by all means, you're all being really quiet, but if you have questions, feel free to ask them.
Okay, and I'm going to start touching on unpacking all those 3 things. And something I'd really like to start with is what we've noticed now that we have 10 students compared. We started with 3 last year. We wanted to start small, make sure we were meeting the needs of our students appropriately. But what I've realized, and I think Kendra can also account for this or attest to this, sorry, that when we've hit 10 students, we are really seeing different needs. So we have a lot of different levels of students. We have some that are having more trouble with academics, so we're focusing on that. We have some that are having more trouble socially, where their academics are pretty strong. We have some that are having more issues with independent living. So as we're seeing that, we've really realized how individualized our program is. And I think that's a credit to our program compared to some other ones, is that how individualized we've made it, and really working on those strengths of each of the students and then the areas of need. So to start with the academics, that's college for you. That's where what every student's goal is the academics on college. So all of the students in Sooner Works are going to audit or do pass or fail 2 to 3 OU courses. And these are the inclusive courses where they're going out with all the peers on the campus. Usually the freshman classes is what they start with. And they're taking classes that their traditional college peers are enrolled in. And there's a few required courses they have to take, but we really tailor these to the individual's interest. And there's the next slide, we'll talk about some of those potential classes, but like we might do health, dance, art. We have a young man that's really interested. What?
I was saying fitness.
Oh yeah, fitness. We have a young man right now that's really interested in economics, which was new to me. I don't know very much about economics, so he's teaching me some stuff. So he's wanting to take some courses in the business college. But then students also take 1 to 2 courses specific for Sooner Works, and there will only be Sooner Works students in those classes. And we're working on the independent living skills, the time management, person-centered planning, where they're also meeting individually with the Sooner Works staff. 1 hour a week, kind of to plan on what their week's going to look like, the individual needs. If this student needs to work more on laundry or something, we can tailor that time for that, individual goals and things like that. So there's a good combination of OU courses, inclusive courses, and then Sooner Works specific courses. But students do take more OU courses. They're in more traditionally enrolled hours than they are Sooner Works courses. And so here are some of the classes our students can have enrolled in, or we project they probably will be interested in enrolling in. So like a leadership class, academic success, all the incoming freshmen take the academic success classes that the university requires for all students. So it's really working on those skills of being a student, how to turn in work, how to know where everything is on campus. And so, for example, like some of the classes in this intro academic success class, they go and visit Goddard Health Clinic, which is our student health clinic there on campus. Well, then as Sooner Works staff, we go in and make sure they know how to make the appointments, and we go again to visit it so they know what it looks like again, because sometimes you need repeated exposure to stuff. Or we'll teach them how to make the appointments, how to use their credit, insurance card, sorry, and things like that. So while the university is focusing on this stuff, we also support what the university is doing in Sooner Works. History of comics, we have a student taking that right now, and it's really interesting to see how that's unfolding. Strategies for success, we have several students taking individual fitness classes right now, weight training, understanding dance and music, communication, public speaking, and we have a young man that loves music, so he's taking intro to voice, and he's taken understanding music, and he is actually going to take a drumming class next semester. So there's a lot of different things to tailor to what you guys are interested in.
Yeah, I know we have one student right now who is very interested in early childhood education and wants to be a preschool teacher. And so we're looking into getting her into a couple early childhood classes. So we really, really try hard. Now, the first semester, your freshman year, our students in the Student Works program take traditional first semester classes. The university calls them gateway classes. So it's kind of that gateway to college, introduction to college. But after that first year, it's really, or that, excuse me, that first semester, it's really tailored into specific interests for the students and what they're interested in studying. So.
Yeah, thank you I forgot to mention the gateway classes, Kendra, thank you. Does anyone have any questions? We're going to move on to the internship and career development. Does anyone have any questions about the classes before we move on?
Y'all are a quiet group.
I'd like to think we're just explaining it so well, Kendra.
Right, so
what skills, I think, I'm sorry, what specific skill set academically do the kids need to have before enrolling?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Broad of a question.
Yeah, we have a slide on kind of that general expectation towards the end. So we're definitely going to get into that a little bit. But as Mindy was saying, you know, it's a whole package of skill sets. So as where some students may be really good at the academic skills and not need as much support there, they may be really lacking in independent living skills and need a lot of support there. So it's kind of this balance of skills, and we hate to get too fixated on reading levels of this or independent skills of this, because each student comes in with their own strengths and needs. I know that's really vague, but.
Well, I actually think that's a great answer, because it makes it sound more individualized and open to a lot of different kinds of kids.
You know,
yeah.
And
our professors our professors have been great, like individualizing and working with the students. And since they're auditing and pass fail, they don't have to do the exact same curriculum as everyone else. They're still responsible for some work, and they're still responsible for participating in the class, getting to class. Our students do attend class by themselves. The first few weeks we escort them and they know where it is, but they're sitting through class by themselves. So they are they have to have that independence level to do it. But we have some that are really strong readers, and we have some that have a hard time reading. So like Kendra said, it's very individualized.
Yeah, and we do a lot to modify assignments. So usually in the college setting, you only provide accommodations for assignments. Of course, this is not a degree program, so we work a lot to modify assignments. And so as where a regular assignment for a regular OU student might be write a 10-page paper, maybe our students do a PowerPoint presentation of bullets to communicate whatever facts that they're trying to go through. Or we've had other students record essays. So they verbally record an essay as opposed to typing an essay. And just whatever it is, so that and that's something that Mindy and I and other people who help with the Student Works program work with. All right, what is the assignment? What is the intent of our assignment? And how can we help our students demonstrate that they have some kind of knowledge to convey learning for this assignment? And as Mindy said, the faculty have been great to work with. And we have faculty that has come back to us saying, oh, can I have a student in Student Works in my classroom next semester too? Because they really just bring a whole different dynamic to the class, and they've been great to work with.
Mm-hmm. And kind of this will lead into our next section. What Kendra was saying is how supportive the professors have been, and faculty wanting to be involved with our students. We had a young man that participated in a class last year, and for his internship next semester, because of COVID, our internships have been a little bit limited this year. They're all getting internships, but we've been like really working and trying to, because we want to make them as tailored as possible for each student. So a professor came back and asked for him to be for the student to be their academic peer mentor in the classroom. So this young man's internship next semester is going to be leading other students who have taken the same class as him and being like the go-between and the communicator for the teacher and running the group meets and things like that, which I think is just amazing. Like it's, and he's so excited because it's something he knows he can do, and it proved how well he did as a student in her class, that she has that confidence in him. Matthew, did I see your hand up? Did you have a question?
Oh yeah, you did see my hand.
Okay, what's up? Did you have a question for us?
Oh well, despite getting job internships, basically, I've been in a job internship myself, in which way is I worked in the AMC Suites Hotel in Frisco, Texas. And what I did there is I was a houseman, an engineer, and a banquet setup AV, and I worked 6 to 7 hours. I used to work 6 to 7 hours a day, but I'm at Cabela's. I've got an apparel processor job, which I'm working 6 hours a day, 24 hours a week.
That's a lot. That's good.
So I'm getting prepaid.
Yeah, that's.
So again, I'm on this call to learn more about that Student Works program. Yeah. And how is this going to work? How is this going to work if you're going to be in the Student Works program, you live on campus, and you're getting a job at the same time? How's that work?
Great, and that's what will be explained. Thank you, Matthew. That's a really good question. So what our students do, we build into more internships, more involvement. They start the first semester without an internship. We think it's really important, and we're learning to just adjust to being a college student. So their very first semester here.
What we've learned is, sorry, Minnie, what we've learned is that the first semester of college is really, really difficult for all students. It's the first time students aren't living at home, and that ability to go to bed on time and wake up on time and eat breakfast, all of these are really hard independent living skills. And so, as Minnie was saying, we start small with the job skills so that that first semester we really can work on time management, getting to class, what are your assignments like, and just living on your own for the first semester. Sorry, Mindy.
No, you're fine. So like Kendra said, that first semester, there's not an internship, but we are working on basic skills, kind of trying to see where the kids are and what's going on to really tailor those internships the next semester for them. And so then their second semester, their freshman year, it's more about job exploration. We're kind of checking out and trying to find what really meets that student. Now, we're not going to put students in their ideal job internship in the very beginning. Like we have a lot of one student that really wants to be involved with the band. Well, we want a lot of job exploration, and that's part of it. I don't know about everyone on here, but I changed my mind a lot. And the running joke in my family when I was in college is Mindy majored in that, because I was always changing my major. And I think that's something that is very common for young adults. And so we want the students to still explore their interests, but we want to kind of sometimes take them out of their comfort zone where they're looking into other jobs. And so really the freshman and sophomore year is more about job exploration. So that freshman year, second semester, they're doing 5 hours of internship. Sophomore year, it's 10 hours of internship per week. And then junior year and senior year, they're going to be doing 15 to 20 hours internship. Their senior year, it is a paid internship, and we're really going to focus in on their interest and the future job they're wanting as close as possible. And that's when it's a paid internship. It's going to be run like a full-time job. Essentially, they'll still have some classes. But that's really when we're getting in those final stages of career planning. And we've been strategic in how we built that and how we're going to place them in those internships and the hours they're doing. All of these internships will vary on students' needs and interests. And so we have a lot of different partners, not only in our OU community, but in our surrounding area in Norman. So not all internships will be on the OU campus. They'll start there, but as they grow and mature, they may have their internships on campus. I mean, in the community of Norman, and use public transportation to get there. Kendra, do you have anything else to add on the career development?
No, I think that's great. And, as Mindy was saying too, we, students always have their idea of their dream internship, and this is great. It gives us a lot to work with. But we also place students in internships that may not be their dream, but because maybe an internship matches a skill set that they have, or maybe an internship helps develop a skill set that they need to develop. So the young man in the picture here was really interested in health and fitness. And this is a picture of him doing an internship at the fitness center, in which he went around to the different equipment and ran the equipment through a series of checks to make sure everything was functioning appropriately. And at first he was really, really excited about this internship. However, after a couple of months, it got really repetitive and he was tired of it, you know. And so there's different reasons that we put students into different internships, but all of them are for a reason to help, you know, work on a certain skill, develop certain skills, and get students ready for full-time employment in the community, because that's really the purpose of where we're going. One thing we didn't mention is in some of those Sooner Work specific courses, we also work a lot on skills of how do you interview, how do you dress at work, how do you get all of these other employment skills and soft skills ready so that when you're on your internship, you're a good employee. So we work a lot on what does that mean as well.
Good point. Now, I would also say the young man in this picture is, he has decided, like Kendra said, he's not enjoying that as much, and he's decided that he likes the health field just personally, but it's not a job he wants to do all day long. He enjoys working out and he enjoys being active, but he's decided he's wanting to explore other jobs. And was gung-ho on doing health for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my favorite slide, the university life. So our students have a very active social life on campus. And I think that's part of being a college student, and it's something we stress. We have some students that are more socially active than others. We have some that's their area of need. So we are building up to that socialization, where we have some that came in and we're having to bring down that socialization a little bit because they want to spend way too much socializing, like some typical college students, and not focus on their academics. So yet again, it's another area that we really tailor to the students' needs and individualize. But all of our students have peer partners, and they have anywhere from 4 to 5 peer partners that are traditionally enrolled students on campus. Most of them are sophomores and juniors. So each student's paired with 4 to 5 students that is just like almost a built-in friend here on campus. It's somebody they reach out to, they go do activities with on campus. It's somebody that can help with their homework. It's somebody that has been paired with them strategically that may have the same interest or something like that, where they may take them to get them more involved in the campus. So we've made connections through sororities, fraternities, through these peer partners, getting involved in several activities on campus and the clubs. A lot of this has been utilized by using the peer partners, because honestly, I think I'm a fun lady, but the students don't want to hang out with me. They don't want me walking with campus with them. They don't want me taking them to the union for lunch every day. I'm seen as a mom on campus. That's not fun for anyone to hang out with their mom on campus. So these peer partners are really an important part of our program. And I want to say almost like the backbone of our program.
They are the backbone. And what I love is when the name peer partners was intentionally chosen by students the first year of our program, because they didn't want to be mentors. They didn't want to be any kind of hierarchy. They wanted to be total partners. And that's the reason they're peer partners, is we're just friends, and we're here to help, and we're here to do things together, and we're here to build friendships and relationships. And they are amazing.
Yeah, we are so fortunate to have the students we have. And so usually we require about 4 to 5, 1 hour per week, or that's our expectation, 1 hour at the least per week per peer partner. So all of our students are getting usually on average 4 to 5 hours per week with the peer partner. So that's 4 to 5 hours of socialization, and then on top of other stuff. And sometimes yesterday when they went to the pumpkin patch, that was more than an hour. They were there most of the afternoon and early evening. They were there for a long time. So, and they're students that they go do very typical stuff with, like in college, I go eat with my friends. We go to dinner, we go to some games together. We might,
there was a concert on campus the other evening. And so several of the students went over to, it was pretty loud. I'll be honest. It was loud for my old age, but I mean, the students thought it was great. And so they walked over to the free campus or the free concert on campus.
yeah, and it's just stuff like that. And what's been really cool is I don't think Kendra and I anticipate as much as it's happened is our older students that were here last year have really taken on the role of also being peer partners to the new students. They've embraced that role. We have been so fortunate to have them. They're making sure all of our new students are comfortable. They're getting out to eat. They're helping them with academics if they can. They're helping them navigate the campus. And it's another responsibility for our older students where they're embracing that independence and being involved. And it's been so cool to watch that just naturally evolve between the students. So our campus organization and activities, our students are very involved. They're all required to join, depending on the involvement level of the organization, 1 to 2 organizations on campus, but we do have students that are very involved in fraternities, which take a lot of time, sororities, students activity council, the composition club, health club.
And that's really the reason why it's 1 to 2 organizations is because some of the organizations like the fraternities and sororities are multiple times a week organizations, as where some of the other activities are once a week organizations.
Yeah, and like Camp Crimson, that's one that it has really busy times. Like they might do a lot at the beginning of the school year, and then they kind of fizzle out for a few months, and then they come back at spring semester and they're really busy again. So that we kind of make those calls on how involved the student is in their club. And if we have a student that is just learning to be a little bit more social, we will let them build into 2 clubs. Like maybe we start with 1 and we build in. We do have some really cool gaming clubs, and we have several of our students that are involved in our gaming clubs, our anime clubs. So there's a lot of students interested in stuff like that. And then all of our students are required to live in student housing, living in the dorms. And we think that's an important part of our program. And while we know it adds extra cost to the program, it's that independent living that I feel like we watch our kids almost immediately mature right before our eyes when they move in that first month, and parents are shocked within the first few weeks how independent they've come on living on their own. So they all start living in individual ADA dorms. Doesn't cost the parents any more for that individual dorm that first year. They're paying the same price as it is for a double occupancy. And they'll be a suite mate with a fellow Sooner Works student. But then all of our students are spread throughout the dorms. So I might have 1 student in 1 dorm. I mean, 2 students that are suite mates in 1 dorm. And I probably need to explain better. I'm sorry. Suite mates share a bathroom. So they each have their own rooms, but then they share a restroom, like a shower and bathroom and all of that. So our kids are spread out around campus. None of them are on the same hall unless they're with their suite mate, like I said. But we want it to be very inclusive living where they are with all their traditional peers on OU and they're living amongst them, and the RAs work with us and they've been really good. They do us extra training. Our students reach out to them and contact them if they have a problem, but they're very independent and they are living in the dorms on their own. And we're not going over to check on them every day. Like we do random checks on making sure rooms are clean and things like that, and making sure they have those skills to live on their own and checking in. But the students have to have that independence level of living on their own in the dorms. We also offer peer tutors, which we have a variation on peer tutors. We have some that are students that might be really good in that area. And then we have some of our adult ed students that are like getting their master's or PhD that are educators that also volunteer to be tutors. So we have a wide variation of what our peer tutors are, but each student is paired with somebody to help them with their academics and help them, because academics can be a little bit hard. I mean, there are some of the classes that I've tried to help the kids with, and it might be out of my comfort zone. So we're going to find a tutor that is good in that area and can help the student. Kendra, do you have anything you want to add?
I think that's good. So as Mindy was talking about living in the dorms, students in the StudentWorks program are spread out amongst all of the dorms and live in typical freshman. Their first year, they live in typical freshman dorms like any student at OU would live in. As students move into upperclassmen, sophomore, junior, senior, they have a lot more options of living in dorms. All of our current students are living on campus, but they're living in different settings. And so one student is living in a setting where he has his own bedroom and own bathroom. One of our students is still living in the freshman dorms because of COVID last year. The student really enjoyed the camaraderie and the busyness, so to say, of the freshman dorms and wanted to move back into it. We have another student who is living more in apartment style on campus, where he has a little living area in addition to his bedroom. And so there's a lot of options for housing on campus. And we kind of see students doing this as they go from being a freshman in the dorms. We see them working their way up in the regular OU setting between upperclassmen housing, the apartments that are on campus, and then eventually to an off-campus apartment, but still very close to campus. So.
Yeah, and that's a huge part, I think, of our independent living component. And OU has an amazing transportation system that gets students to and from their apartments. So we have some apartments that are kind of on the outside of campus. They're still located on campus, but it's a walk to the classes. And so we teach the students how to navigate, transition, and do all of that. Transportation. So getting back in on the residential life, we kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but our students, that is just a huge component, and they love it. They love being on their own. Sometimes a little too much. We're having to work on, yeah, you are independent, but you still are accountable, like getting up, the time management, all of that. And I think that's been our biggest challenge so far this year, has been working on that time management of the students are still responsible for knowing when to go to bed, knowing when to get up, getting to class. Like we teach them all at first, like how to get there and do all of that. And we help them set their alarms and things like that. But that is, independence is what we're really looking for in students. And students, Kendra, did you mention next year they will have their second year, they have the option of where they're living, what they're doing. If they want a roommate, they know, or they want to go potluck, which means they'll randomly select a roommate to put them with. The students get that choice because every other college student gets that choice. And we don't feel like, we need to make forced choices for them for independent living as far as what their preferences are, because there's a lot of sophomores that choose to live on their own. And so all three of ours actually from last year chose to live on their own in single rooms, just in very different
places.
Places. But they all wanted to live on their own. Okay, so social life we talked about earlier. You can see a little bit of all the fun our students have participated in. Some are masked pictures and some aren't. COVID has been really a hard adjustment for our kids this year, but they've handled it really well. And I feel like the university has done a good job, but our socialization looks a little bit different this year, and our involvement looks a little bit different. And that's where the peer partners have stepped up and been very creative. There might be a little bit more online activities, or there might be more on outside and walking, more outside activities and walking to do stuff instead of going to eat in crowded restaurants, things like that. Is there any? Sorry.
Yeah, y'all are so quiet, but our students have amazing social lives. Our students go to football games if they want to. Our students join fraternities and sororities if that's what they choose. We have one student who was involved in band in high school and a very accomplished musician already. And the student will be auditioning for the OU band in the spring. And so our students are afforded the exact same social opportunities as everyone else. They go to the rec center and work out. And I don't know, I texted one of our students yesterday and asked what they were doing. And she was like, "Oh, I'm busy all day. Thanks." And I was like, "Great. This is exactly what I want you to do." But, of course I was like, well, okay, All right, guess you don't need me.
Yeah.
Cameron, do you have a question?
Yeah. Is it possible to be a football manager?
You know, that's a great question. So we have been working with some of the different athletics to start internships. We have not done an internship necessarily with the football team yet, but we did have a student do an internship last year before COVID, and they were going to basketball games and help doing a lot of passing out like some of the free handouts to people at the basketball games.
Okay.
And that kind of stuff. Mindy, you could probably explain that better than I can.
Yeah, they were very just involved with all this Sooner Sports Properties, like organizes all the sporting events on campus. So he got to really be involved in that. And so this is something kind of important to consider too. His hours look different. His hours weren't the traditional 8 to 5. He may have to work weekends. He may have to work evenings here and there. So that's something about the internships the kids are learning. And while I like to say that every one of our kids get to work with the football team or get to work with our dance teams, that's not, you know, we have facilitated some relationships and we're working on that. But it's not a guarantee that these students get to do it all 4 years. Like there's going to be other jobs and things like that you have to do too. So, but yeah, we're definitely working on that, Cameron.
Thank you.
Well,
You're so welcome, Cameron. Matthew, what's your question?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm hoping I was muted. Well, I do have a question though. So it's good. So, cause I was in a sports broadcast where I got to know people, how to work the cameras, how to work at the sports broadcast booth, and how to break down and set up all the sports cameras. So this would be something interesting, man. Working as a cameraman and filming for a sports broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Matthew. I think I have your email link, but there is a program at OU called OU Nightly, and it is a student-led news program. And I think that would be a great opportunity to look into doing an internship with the Gaylord College of Communications, because there's a lot of broadcasting and camera involvement in that college. And so that's something that if you were interested in, that Mindy and I could definitely help look up.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I will say this is something I was really shocked by. So OU has over 500 active student organizations. So there's a lot of different opportunities for involvement in different areas. And like, I didn't even know about the OU Nightly. So Kendra and I are always learning about programs. And when a student tells us they're interested in something, we may not know it's there. And we look it up and we're like, there's like 3 different things related to this student's interest. So I've been really pleasantly surprised with how good OU has been at making sure all the different students' interests are met across campus. And I feel like with 500 clubs, you're bound to find stuff you're interested in, and you know, a like community that you feel embraced. So.
And I know y'all have mentioned a lot about internships for sports. Can we actually play a sport and be in this program?
Now it depends on that. There's a lot of different rules for NCAA eligibility. So it depends what you're wanting to play.
But all of our students can get involved in intramural sports, which is just playing different sporting competitions with your peers. And so, you know, when Mindy's talking about the NCAA, those are students who come here that are degree seeking, that have been recruited to come play a certain sport, but there are lots of opportunities to play intramural sports just with your friends.
Perfect.
You guys asked some really good questions. Okay,
so I think, this was the question that y'all were asking about earlier, is what are kind of the participant requirements? So I'll hush, Mindy.
You're fine. You're fine. Kendra and I have given this presentation several times, so like we can fill in each other's parts pretty easy. And you know, when you give a presentation sometimes there's little parts that I skip over and Kendra's like, oh, we need to go back and do that, and vice versa. So I feel like we've got it worked out really well, Kendra. So all of our students need to have basic functional understanding of literacy. And that means reading and writing skills. I'm not saying every student has to be able to read on their own or write on their own, but they have to have the skill set to be able to use technology or something like that to do it, because there are email communications. Professors are reaching out through students through emails. We are always using like a group me chat or text messaging. They have to be able to read that and go through and get directions that way. There has to be a basic level of literacy to be part of the program. Being able to comprehend, that comprehension. If they have other skills to be able to read or write, that's fine, but they need to have some comprehension of what is being said. And we also need basic math understanding, and that's just like addition, things like that. Budgeting, we understand that's something to be taught. We are working on that right now. I know a lot of grown adults who still need help with budgeting. So when we're talking about basic math, we're just talking about like basic addition, things like that. And I know math is kind of hard for a lot of people, so we can tailor things sometimes to help avoid math as much as possible. I have several students that are afraid they're going to have to take math classes. So I've reassured them, if that's not your interest, we do not have to take any math classes. This is something that's really important. I think our program is very inclusive, but it's also very independent. So our students have to be able to function independently for a sustained period of time. They're living in their dorms on their own. We aren't going to check on them nightly. We aren't entertaining them all the time. Like, they are traditional college students in that fact of, yeah, those peer partners are there to facilitate some fun stuff and involvement, but their days aren't scheduled 24/7. We don't tell them when to go to bed. We don't make sure they have something to do from the time they get up to the time they go to bed. Like, there is that independence of functioning independently and being able to do stuff on your own and being able to reach out to your friends. Let's go do this. Or being able to get up from, like we said earlier, from an alarm clock, understanding your schedule. And, we are seeing a lot of issues with our students that are very traditional for college students across the board of, I can't stay up till 5 a.m. and then get up and go to 9:30 class. Like, it's too hard. I usually sleep through my alarm. So we're working on stuff like that. And when we have those problems, we address them. We're not leaving the kids on their own to handle them. We have the intervention and the skills to help them, like setting the alarms, maybe having a text message to check on them, things like that. But they do have to have this certain level of independence.
And I would probably say that kind of basic level of independence to me is more important than academic skills or anything like that. Is that, and so we were having, or we still kind of are a little bit, with one student, the students in their dorm room every night just fine, but staying up late and watching Netflix until 2 a.m. The student's safe. They're, like I said, they're in their dorm room, but we can't stay up watching movies on Netflix all night and then wake up and go to class at 9. And so these are very common things that all college students are working on. Is I have to make sure I go to bed. I have to make sure I wake up in the morning. And so, yeah, Tara, I see your hand raised.
So how do you just rely on the class that you have with all the kids to keep checking in on them or monitoring, or do you have like weekly meetings, or how do you monitor all that?
A little bit of everything. And so, as Mindy was saying, our students, they do have class check-ins, and we're making sure they're going to all of their classes, not just, and so there's a check-in process to get to all of their classes. Now we start weeding that off. So for our sophomore students, we're not making sure that they're at all of their regular classes, but especially for our freshman students, at the beginning of the year, someone walks them to all of their classes to make sure that they get there. They're getting involved in student organizations. So we know when they're supposed to be at student meetings. They have each student in Student Works has multiple peer partners, and each one of those peer partners is spending time with them during the week. And so we quickly hear back from peer partners if a student isn't responding to them, and so we've had, experiences where peer partners are texting our students and our students are never texting their peer partners back. Well, we hear about that pretty quick. Hey, student Johnny is not texting back. And so then we immediately check in with Johnny. What's going on? Is your phone not getting charged? And we hear every reason. I forgot to charge my phone. I just didn't, and so but there are points of every single day that students are getting checked in with.
Mhm. And there's a lot of text messaging going on, just like today. I texted
Yeah.
this morning to see how everyone enjoyed the pumpkin patch, everyone that went. So there's this texting back and forth, just as a check-in almost daily, sometimes several times a day.
Yeah.
But
And
just
because
that
our
communication.
students, yeah, because our students also are suite mates with other students in the Student Works program, you know, if we're not hearing from someone and we've texted them and it's been an hour and they haven't texted us back, then we're texting the roommate saying, can you go knock on Johnny's door? Is Johnny in his room?
Mhm.
You know, and so, but that doesn't happen. Well, I don't know. Doesn't happen that often, but
It's for our sleepyheads sometimes that are supposed to be in class sitting with us, and we're like, hey, they're
are
not
they
up
still
yet. Have you heard
sleeping?
from them? Yes. And this is a really important aspect. This isn't high school, and the students aren't on IEPs. And so, you know, in high school settings, teachers do deal with a lot of behavior and emotional problems. But we don't at college because they are so independent. You know, we cannot provide the exact same supports that are provided in high school. And I think that's really important for parents to understand is students get kicked out of college for behavior problems. They get kicked out. They aren't equipped to be there and be a young functioning adult. They're going to get kicked out of the program. So that's something we just kind of start with beginning. Like we tell parents, if there's any behavior or emotional problems, sometimes this may not be a good fit for the student. We also feel it's important they be able to adapt to change and not overly stress out. We do have students that stress. I'm not saying that a kid stresses out. I mean, we're not going to take them because we do have kids that stress, but we also need students that college is not the same thing every single day. Your days look different Monday and Wednesday than they do Tuesday, Thursday. Like your days just look different. And so there's going to be changes and there's going to be times when people cancel, professors cancel class. We've really encountered that with COVID is we'll have a professor out for 2 weeks because they were exposed and the students go online for 2 weeks. So there are a lot of changes and they need to be able to adapt well. Potential to be successful in competitive employment situations, like they have to be able to work. We will teach.
And they have to want to work.
Yes. And back to the whole thing is they have to want to be here. And we get that in a second. Like they have to want to work. They have to want to be here. We're not going to be over their shoulder all the time. And we're not going to sit in a job with them and make sure they're doing every single thing. We'll have job coaches at the beginning to teach them those skills, but we expect them to have a certain amount of soft skills coming in, like the being on time, being polite. And I know for some of you parents that are here with really students that are younger, that you're looking 4 or 5 years out, start working on those skills with the students. That's what we always tell teachers and parents. Be sure that you're teaching your students to be as independent as possible. I feel like laundry, cleaning, some chores, allowing them to go to camps, allowing them to go to grandparents, allowing them to spend time away from families is really good. So they're used to being a little bit more independent.
Even if it's, you know, of course I understand safety, but even if it's you leaving your child at home for a night by themselves and, you know, maybe you're right across the street, maybe you have a hotel in town, but, you know, just allowing students to have that independent time to see how they do.
So it's that independence we're looking for. And I do like the motivation to complete a post-secondary program. We've had kids that come in for interviews and they're a great kid. We think they'd be a really good fit. The parents are so excited about them being here. And they're like, I don't want to be here. I'm just doing it because my parents want me to be here. Well, you know what? I understand the need of some of our parents, and I feel the same way about my child going on to college, but they have to have a desire to be here because college is an expensive endeavor for families, and it is a lot of time and energy. And if a student doesn't want to be here, then, you know, we don't want to waste the parents' time and money, the students' time and money. And it is a competitive program. So we're probably going to take somebody that wants to be here more so than somebody that has no desire to be on campus. And also just being involved. I think it's really important. We have some students that want to go to college and be here, but they don't want to leave their dorm room. They want to play on their computer or do whatever all the time. They don't want that social aspect. And it's because it's probably a little bit more challenging for them. And we do work on that, but they do have to have a desire to at least be involved, because we aren't going to go and pull them out of their room every time we need them to do something and make sure, we're not going to constantly facilitate all that. In the beginning we do, but they have to have that desire to be social to someone.
An ability to communicate
Mhm.
needs is really important too. And so, for example, we had a student who got a rash. It was just on his arms. It wasn't, but the ability to communicate, hey, I need help. And so that's really big. Even if you're communicating back with your family, who's then reaching out to us or communicating directly to us. But if there's a problem, that ability to communicate to your support network that, hey, I need help, because we can't help facilitate a trip to the health center if we don't know there's a problem. And we can't help facilitate communication with a professor if we don't know there's a problem. So.
And so we also require the kids to have completed high school. It looks different for every kid. Every district, state has different requirements. The student can either have aged out or have graduated with a diploma, but they have to have finished high school, and then they have to be between the ages of 18 and 26. While we understand there is an older population that would still really benefit from this, we feel like 26 is that cutoff, like living in the dorms, living with 18-year-olds, things like that. It's really important that everyone is age appropriate due to the independent living component. Is there anything else you can think of on the participant requirements, Kendra?
No, I think that looks great.
Does anyone have any questions about that before we moved on? All right. So our students, we asked them some questions, and you'll see some videos here at the end. So I really want you to see the video. So I'm going to kind of breeze through these a little bit. But our students report they love making friends, Sooner Works has helped them stay focused and figuring out their next steps in college. And one of them, and I really like this, he said, I get to be an adult and do adult things. And I really think that's what Sooner Works is about. Parents report they see a new level of independence with their kids and handling situations that they never would have thought possible before. And it's just amazing. You see this independence almost immediately. I'm not saying it's perfect, and we aren't still working on skills as we're going along, but just living on their own it's just crazy to see how quick they mature in that aspect.
Change the first semester your freshman year is really amazing.
Yeah.
But I do love the last quote on this one. Basically, my child is living their best life they could ever live, but oh my gosh, I had no idea someone could spend that much money on Starbucks, which was something we had to work on. You cannot go to Starbucks 3 times a day and buy these jumbo Frappuccino things. So.
And that is something like to point out is we aren't monitoring their spending. That is a parent thing. Like it's like with a typical student, like their parents are monitoring that and taking care of it. We don't go with them every time they go to peer partner. We aren't going with them on campus to the union every time. So they're being responsible for those aspects of their life.
Now we do talk a lot about healthy choices.
Yes.
There's a big cafeteria that is all you can eat, and we talk a whole lot about healthy choices. But yeah, we're not eating with them every time. So someone could eat Chick-fil-A literally breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, and we wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So.
And we do like we work on budgeting right now. We have a personal financial literacy class they take, so we're working on that stuff. But there's also, we're teaching them the skills, but they don't have them all when they first walk into our program. And so that freshman year, it is navigating that, but they do have to be there. There's a lot of responsibility on them. And I think they all adjust really well to that responsibility overall. Like we have a few minor things here and there, but I've been pleasantly surprised about how every one of our students has seemed to really adjust to college life. So our instructors report that our students are just part of their classroom. I know last year when we started a program, some people were hesitant, like, how's this going to look? What's it going to look like? They wanted to make sure that our students didn't stand out in the classroom and that they had that typical college experience. And I think it really has just evolved to that. And we had one professor say that the class embraced the student, really just didn't even have an idea that the student was part of Sooner Works until the end when he gave a presentation and talked about how important Sooner Works was to him. And so the students had no idea. And I think that's what's really cool about the universe, the gateway classes that Kendra was talking about earlier, is the work is really geared to just being a freshman student. And it's so our students really get to blend in those classes and be that typical OU student with the requirements and the presentations and the things like that they're doing. So I'll let Kendra go ahead and address this.
So we recognize that college is not cheap, and we're sorry, but it is what it is. We are very happy to announce that as of this last summer, Sooner Works and the program here at OU is considered a comprehensive transition post-secondary education by the Department of Ed, which does allow our students to complete the FAFSA and qualify for some financial aid. From analyzing kind of the financial aid packages of our students in the program, they were receiving somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 per semester. And so that, of course, is not covering the full gamut of the cost of the program. So please do realize that it is what it is. And so Sooner Works costs what it costs to go to OU. So this is kind of a big chart. Maybe the bottom row shows what it costs for Sooner Works resident costs, Sooner Works non-resident costs, and then compared to residents of Oklahoma versus non-residents. And so for residents of Oklahoma, it is really comparable to the cost of going to OU. For non-residents, it's actually a little bit cheaper than the cost of going to OU. For a good chunk of this, for example, the cost that it takes to live in the dorms is the cost that it takes to live in the dorms. It's an OU set fee. The only thing that's really differing then is kind of you hit that cost of extra out-of-state tuition for our non-resident Oklahoma students that, you know, kind of makes it cost a lot more. But we want to warn you that it costs very much what it costs to go to OU, which is estimated between $27,000 and $30,000 a year. And so please go into this knowing that this is the cost of the program. The CTP status definitely alleviates some. We've had lots of students have great success with other scholarships through autism organizations, through Ruby's Rainbow, through high school scholarships that their high schools gave out. Our College of Ed has, all of our students are considered students within the College of Education here. That's where the Sooner Works program is housed. And every student this semester received a $750 scholarship from a donor within the College of Education. So there are some ways to piece together different scholarships, but please, we just want you to be aware that this program does have costs that are comparable to going to college. So, all right. And the reason it has the, you know, these prices are subject to change. These are based on what OU has set the tuition rates at right now. Mm-hmm. If they decide to raise it in the spring, we don't have any control over raising tuition costs. So,
and something I like to point out too, on that CTP application where they go through the traditional FAFSA, the students are eligible for grants, Pell Grant scholarships, things like that. They are not eligible for loans. Through CTP, the students, they don't allow loans for our students. So student loans are usually out through the federal government.
You know about, hi, I'm Tammy. I'm Cameron's mom. What about like post 9/11 GI Bill? Do you think that I could use that towards?
Did we look into that, Mindy? I know someone asked that before, but then they realized they didn't have any.
They didn't qualify for
left.
And that's a question we have. It's mainly, our school can't answer that. It's something, I mean, we can't answer that. It's something that you have to talk to the GI, whatever specific about yours, because some of them have rules on being a full-time student. Okay. And since our students aren't taking the traditional course, it looks different because they're not considered a degree seeking student and their hours look a little bit different. So It's
Okay.
one of those things you have to check. We can't guarantee it. I know some of the other schools have been able to work it out depending on what kind of GI Bill it was.
Okay.
So
All right.
Yeah, that's a great question, Tammy. I'm just thinking, now that we have the CTP status, we had to document that our students are full-time students, even though they're not enrolled in the 12 hours of tuition.
Okay.
Yeah, we would just have to.
Yeah, I can look into it.
Mhm.
And then I can let you know what I find out.
And I'll check in on it too. I have your email, so I'll check in on it. But we did pursue that with another student, and the one he had, it was degree seeking, I think, too.
Okay.
So it just depends.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. I will also say that Oklahoma Promise, as of now, does not apply to our students in Sooner Works, which we're very frustrated about, and we are working on getting that changed. With the other post-secondary program in Oklahoma and some of our legislators and things like that, we can't guarantee it's ever going to change, but we're working on it. So Oklahoma Promise won't apply to OU, to Sooner Works.
All right, let's go to the next slide so we have time for the videos. So basic application information. Applications will release November 1st, so just a week away. Applications are due February 1st. This is a very hard deadline. In order for your application to be complete, you have to include all your letters of recommendation, your most recent IEP or exit IEP or documentation, and also the payment of $25 application fees. Applications that are not complete on February 1st will not be reviewed. So please don't miss that February 1st deadline. We do realize that it takes a little while to gather this information, and so it's best to start early. Once February 1st hits, we will start reviewing applications like wildfire to notify those participants of on-campus interviews. Our plan at this point is to have on-campus interviews. We will notify you by February 19th to have the on-campus interviews by the beginning of March. We do totally recognize that we are in the middle of pandemics, so maybe we're being optimistic that somehow February and March will be, who knows? But at this point, we are planning to do on-campus interviews. We feel that meeting people face-to-face, meeting students face-to-face, meeting families face-to-face, the family component of the interview is just as important as the student component in the interview, because we have to make sure that we're all on the same page as a team. And students
also seeing the university, I think, is important, because they need to make sure this is a place where they're going to feel comfortable and happy and enjoy it.
So, but once we do those on-campus interviews, things move pretty quick. So hopefully real quick after those on-campus interviews, we will mail a packet to students and let them know. So the main dates you need to worry about right now is just really applications are released November 1st and they are due February 1st. So please pay attention to those. All right, I'm done now, Mindy.
Yeah, Tara, I see you have a question.
Do you plan on keeping the number of students to about 10 as a maximum?
Yes.
Oh, each cohort. So we have 10 right now. Each year we plan to take about 10 more.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so next year, and next year will be our third year in the program. And so our hope is to take somewhere between 8 and 10 freshmen. Of course, last year we said we wanted to take 6 and we ended up taking 7 because we just had 7 really good applications. But we, because we're a newer program, we really want to make sure that we're growing and ensuring the right amount of supports and not growing too fast. But yeah, our plan this year is to admit 8 to 10 students. So
if you guys are interested, you want to learn more about our program, you can follow us. We follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're always updating what's going on with our students. We'll send out a reminder about when our applications are released and when they're coming due. You also look at our website, go through, I think the easiest way, because it has a long, web address. I always think the easiest thing to do is just to say in your search engine, Sooner Works at OU, and it'll usually pull it up for you.
So,
And you, everyone here has received an email from me from soonerworks@ou.edu. I sent it, but it's through our Sooner Works account. So if you ever have any questions or you want to reach out, feel free to email us on that. Someone is always monitoring that, and you will get a quick reply usually during the week within an hour or two. And on the weekends, it might wait till Monday, but you are always getting a quick reply.
we also highly encourage people to do a campus visit. The university admissions office is open, and so you can schedule a campus visit through the admissions office. They do a great job, so we don't want to reinvent anything that they're already doing a great job about. The admissions office knows about the Sooner Works program, and then when you're on campus taking a tour, please come see us. We regularly have students in the office coming and going, whether it's person-centered planning or working on class assignments, and we love to meet you. So, all right, here's a couple of videos.
Okay, and on these videos, we're just picking a few. These aren't all of our students, but they had an assignment in one of their classes is, what does it mean to be a college student, and what does it mean to be part of Sooner Works?
Sooner Works is an amazing program with disabilities to come and learn how to be independent and learn how to how to get a job and a career in their future, and just learn like the college experience, like football games and living in the dorms and stuff like that. I think that Sooner Works has been an amazing part in my life so far, and I absolutely love it, and I am so excited for the years to come. Boomer Sooner.
Okay.
Sooner Works is an amazing program.
I have to go back and forth, so give. Stop share.
One day we'll get better at technology, but technology will still stay ahead of me. So
Always. That's going to be me. I need my 13-year-old in here to help me with the technology.
Hi, my name is Tori, and I'm a Sooner Works student. So far in college, I've taken classes and made friends, and part of Chi Delta. I'm enjoying OU and made progress.
So that was short and sweet. In the end, I have two more that they're really just quick. So you can kind of see all of our students are just at different levels, like of communication, independence, things like that.
Because hi, I'm Christian. I'm a freshman, and one thing that I've enjoyed about college, I have enjoyed really much the football games and the atmosphere of people, because I enjoy meeting new people and making new friends. And I have enjoyed Sooner Works because I've met some incredible people, and that's helped me a lot, and it's always there for me.
And I have one more, guys, for you. And I asked we asked the videos to be anywhere from 30 seconds to about a minute and a half. Well, I had one young lady that made a 10.5-minute video. And so, but I think her first part is so fun, and it shows her personality that I'm going to show it. She had to actually upload it to YouTube because she couldn't turn it in because it was so big. And it's so funny because she says she will edit it down, and she never does. She likes all 10.5 minutes. So so we're just going to do the first, I think it's a minute and a half on hers. So can y'all see hers? Okay.
Hi, buddy. This is my selfie video. All right. So, by the way, if you don't know, I would edit all my videos on my selfie video, so I know how to edit. So let's get this one. What is my thoughts for
Sooner Works program. All right, so the Sooner Works program is incredible. It's very inspiring. And I don't know why I say that word because I love it here. And you don't know how much it means to me. Because you, all of you, today, I just want to say you are a special person. You are. And I just want everybody to understand how I'm feeling inside and how you're feeling inside. I feel that Sooner Works makes me feel like I do great things to meet new friends and spend some time with you guys. Make sure you be on time.
So hers goes into more of what we're working on at school and stuff. It goes on, like I said, 10.5 minutes, but it's the most entertaining video, but I'm not going to sit through all 10 minutes with you guys. And so when I had this, I just had it as an assignment. I didn't expect it to be something we were going to share in these videos, but they came out so great. I asked for students' permission to share them, and they all gave me permission.
Hey, Mindy, stop your screen share.
Okay. Okay, so I just thought it was really important to showcase how our students are doing and their opinions on it. And, you know, it's going to change day to day, just like typical college students. I love college, it's the best thing, or I hate college, it's so hard. I mean, we get that.
I don't like getting up early.
Yes.
You always wake me up. And
so
yeah.
A lot of times I get, you're just like my mom. And so I take that as a compliment. Yeah. We take that as a compliment whenever we get that. So it is a home for the students. We're not just throwing them out to the wolves. I know it's going to be hard for any parent to let their kid go and go to college. Like, I can't imagine. My son's 13 and I'm already dreading the day. But I also think we have a lot of supports, but that, like we've said, there is a lot of independence. So I'm very proud of what we've created, and I think it's been very beneficial for our students. But if you guys have any questions about what we haven't addressed so far or anything like that, we have about 5 more minutes.
About Guardianship.
Yeah, go Matthew.
Yeah, my mom wants to know about guardianship.
If we have guardianship, do we need to, because we have full guardianship at the moment, but I was wondering if, you know, if he applies and gets into the program, is that something that will need to be changed, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, the students do have to sign a lot of their own paperwork. Like, we can work it out, but they are responsible. Like, if they go to the doctor, they're signing off on their own. Unless you're willing to come here every time they have a doctor's appointment and do everything. The students sign off on everything on their own.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Just with questions.
Guardianship does create some difficulties, kind of what Mindy was, alluding to, especially in terms of if students need to go take a COVID test, for example. That has come up this semester. And if you have full guardianship, then the student can agree to take their own COVID test. So it just creates a lot of barriers.
That's a really good question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're on mute.
Welcome. There any other question? You guys have asked some really great questions.
Do you know Jeff McMillan?
I do know Jeff.
Tell him I said hi and I miss him.
Was he your teacher, Cameron?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Jeff McMillan is now a doctoral student in the Zero Center. So did you recognize anyone in those videos, Cameron? Because one of the people in the video used to be a student of Jeff's too.
No.
Okay.
No.
We just moved here about a year ago. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Kendra mentioned the Zero Center. Center works. Like, people want to come visit our program, and there's not really a program to visit. Like, you can come meet us, and we are based out of the Zero Center. But when we tell people to come visit us, yeah, we're telling you to take campus tours. You can come meet some of the students. We can set up a meeting so you can ask them questions, things like that. But our kids are so independent and on campus, you can't really just come sit in our classroom. We have little classrooms here and there, but we're working. Yeah, we're working and we're doing stuff. So really, a lot of our stuff, like Kendra says, done through the Zero Center. And so that's our home base. And like all the kids know, the Zero Center is the offices where they come. We're trying to set up a little union of sorts for the students to come hang out, because they've been there a lot lately, like working in groups and things like that. So the Zero Center is our home center. Anything else you can think of?
Well, we definitely enjoyed visiting with everyone today. Please reach out if you have any questions.
Sorry.
And yeah, go for it, Avery.
Avery had a question.
Is there a drama program part of the Sooner Works program?
Is there what? I'm sorry.
Journalism?
Is there a drama part of the Sooner Works?
Avery, that's a great question. And we have some other students that are interested in drama. So yes, our students can be involved in the drama program and take some classes. We don't offer like a major in drama through Sooner Works. We don't offer majors in Sooner Works, but we do follow interest. And so OU actually has a very prestigious, like important drama program, and it's known across the country. So our students can be involved in drama, and there's several clubs that also address drama and acting.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, well, it was so nice seeing everyone this afternoon. It's a little wet and rainy here, so hopefully you are all staying warm and dry wherever you are.
And feel free to email us if you have any questions.
All right,
thank
you. Have a great day.
You too.
All right, you too. Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thank you.